There is a kind of tiredness that sleep cannot fix. It settles deeper than the body, reaching places that a full night of rest cannot always touch. A person can go to bed exhausted, sleep for hours, wake up to a brand new morning, and still carry the same heaviness that was there the night before. The eyes may have rested, the body may have recovered some strength, yet something within still feels weary, as though the soul itself has been carrying more than it was created to hold. Perhaps you know that feeling. Life continues moving forward. Responsibilities continue demanding attention. People continue needing things from you. And day after day, you keep showing up, doing what must be done, fulfilling obligations, solving problems, encouraging others, making decisions, and carrying concerns that rarely leave your mind completely. From the outside, it may appear that everything is functioning normally, yet inside there is a quiet exhaustion that never seems to fully disappear. The difficult thing about this kind of weariness is that it often arrives gradually. It does not usually appear in a single moment. Instead, it gathers over time, collecting pieces of disappointment, uncertainty, unanswered questions, responsibilities that never seem to pause, and burdens that were meant to be temporary but somehow became permanent companions. What begins as something manageable slowly becomes something heavier, until one day a person realizes they have been carrying far more than they ever intended. And perhaps the most challenging part is that many people learn how to live this way. They learn how to smile while feeling overwhelmed, how to continue moving while feeling drained, how to answer questions about their well-being without ever revealing what is truly happening beneath the surface. Over time, exhaustion becomes familiar, and what should have felt unusual begins to feel normal. Yet the soul was never created to exist in a constant state of depletion. There is a reason why moments of stillness sometimes feel uncomfortable. There is a reason why silence can occasionally reveal emotions we have managed to avoid during busy days. Deep within us, there remains an awareness that something is missing, something that endless activity cannot provide and constant effort cannot create. It is precisely here, in this quiet place of weariness, that Psalm 62 speaks with remarkable tenderness. David writes, "Truly my soul finds rest in God, not my circumstances, not my plans, not my ability to control what happens next. My soul, the deepest part of who I am." And as we continue, we are going to discover why those words still bring hope to weary hearts today. The truth is that many of the things that tire the soul are invisible. They cannot be measured by hours worked or tasks completed. They are carried in the heart, stored in the mind, hidden within concerns about the future, disappointments from the past, and questions that have not yet found answers. And when enough of those burdens accumulate, a person may begin to wonder if rest is even possible anymore. One of the most surprising things about weariness is that it is not always caused by hardship alone. Sometimes the soul grows tired while life appears relatively stable. There may be no major crisis, no dramatic loss, no single event that explains the heaviness. Yet beneath the surface, something has been quietly consuming strength for a long time. The human heart was never designed to carry endless pressure without relief. It was created to trust, to hope, to receive. Yet many of us gradually learn a different way of living. We begin to carry responsibilities that extend beyond our capacity, worries that belong to tomorrow, and expectations that were never ours to fulfill in the first place. At first, the weight seems manageable, a concern about the future, a difficult season at work, tension within a relationship, a prayer that remains unanswered longer than expected. Each burden appears small enough to handle on its own, yet life rarely delivers them one at a time. They arrive together, overlapping and intertwining, until the mind becomes crowded and the heart begins carrying more than it realizes. What makes this especially exhausting is that many of these burdens are invisible. They travel with us quietly, appearing in moments when the world grows still. They wait in the background of ordinary days, shaping thoughts, influencing emotions, and creating a subtle tension that follows us even when there is no immediate problem demanding attention. A person may be sitting in a peaceful room while carrying an anxious mind. They may be surrounded by people who love them while feeling deeply alone in what they are facing. They may have countless reasons to be grateful and yet still feel emotionally drained, not because gratitude is absent, but because the soul has been running on empty for longer than it was meant to. This is why weariness can be so confusing. It does not always come from weakness. It does not always come from failure. Often it comes from carrying too much for too long. Perhaps that is why the words of David feel so powerful in Psalm 62. He does not write from a place where every problem has disappeared. He does not speak as someone whose life has become easy. In fact, many of his psalms were written during seasons of uncertainty, opposition, and deep emotional strain. Yet in the middle of those realities, David discovered something many people spend years searching for. He discovered that the soul cannot find lasting rest in circumstances because circumstances constantly change. It cannot find lasting rest in human approval because people are unpredictable. It cannot find lasting rest in control because control is often an illusion. The soul becomes weary when it keeps searching for peace in places that were never designed to sustain it. And perhaps that is why so many people feel exhausted today. They have been trying to find security in things that shift, stability in things that fade, and certainty in a world where very little feels certain. Deep down, the soul longs for something stronger than circumstances, something steadier than emotions, something that remains unshaken when everything else feels unstable. David found that place, and as we continue, we are going to explore the secret he discovered, a truth that allowed him to experience peace even when life around him remained uncertain. One of the reasons Psalm 62 continues to speak so powerfully across generations is that David was not writing from a place of comfort. These words were not born during a season when everything was working in his favor. They emerged from a life that knew uncertainty, opposition, disappointment, and pressure. That matters because it changes the way we read the psalm. It is one thing to speak about peace when life is calm. It is another thing entirely to speak about rest when there are still reasons to worry, still questions without answers, still circumstances that have not yet changed. David understood what it felt like to live with tension. He knew what it was like to wait. He knew what it was like to face situations that could not be solved immediately. He experienced betrayal from people he trusted, opposition from those who wanted to harm him, and seasons where the future seemed far less certain than he would have preferred. Yet somewhere in the middle of those experiences, David discovered something that transformed the way he carried his burdens. He realized that peace was not found on the other side of perfect circumstances. If that had been true, peace would have remained forever out of reach. There would always be another challenge, another uncertainty, another situation demanding attention. There would always be something capable of disturbing the heart. Instead, David discovered that rest begins when the soul stops looking first at the storm and starts looking at the one who remains unchanged within it. This is why the opening words of Psalm 62 feel so personal. Truly my soul finds rest in God. Notice what David is doing. He is not speaking to the crowd. He is not trying to impress anyone. He is speaking from a deeply personal place, almost as though he is reminding his own heart where it belongs. There is something beautiful about that, because sometimes the greatest spiritual battles are not fought in public. They are fought quietly within us, in the space between fear and faith, between worry and trust, between what we see and what we believe. And often the soul becomes tired because it spends so much energy trying to predict outcomes that have not happened yet. It imagines conversations before they occur. It rehearses problems before they arrive. It carries tomorrow's concerns while still attempting to manage today's responsibilities. The mind moves ahead, searching for certainty, while the heart struggles to find rest in the present moment. David understood that tendency. He understood how easily anxiety can pull a person's attention away from the faithfulness of God and toward the uncertainty of circumstances. That is why his words feel less like a declaration and more like an act of returning to trust, returning to perspective, returning to the awareness that God remains who he has always been, regardless of what is happening around us. Perhaps that is what makes the soul so weary at times. Not only the burdens themselves, but the constant effort of carrying them without remembering who walks beside us. Because burdens feel different when they are carried alone. Every uncertainty appears larger. Every delay feels heavier. Every unanswered question seems more intimidating. But when the heart begins to remember God's presence, the burden itself may not immediately disappear. Yet something within starts to change. Fear loses some of its grip. Pressure loses some of its power. And the soul begins to breathe again. David's secret was not that he had fewer problems than other people. His secret was that he learned where to place his attention when those problems appeared. And that truth becomes the doorway to the next question. If true rest cannot be found in circumstances, where do people usually look for it? And why does it so often leave them feeling empty? One of the most difficult lessons the soul learns is that many of the things we expect to bring lasting peace can only provide temporary relief. A problem is solved, and the mind feels lighter. A season of uncertainty comes to an end, and the heart experiences a moment of relief. A long-awaited answer finally arrives, and for a brief period it feels as though everything has settled into place. There is a quiet satisfaction in those moments. The breathing becomes easier. Thoughts that once occupied every corner of the mind begin to lose their urgency. The tension that seemed permanently attached to the heart finally starts to loosen its grip, and for a little while life feels different. The future appears less intimidating, the burden feels smaller, and the soul begins to believe it has finally arrived at the place it was searching for. Yet as time passes, something unexpected often begins to reveal itself. The relief was real, but it was not complete. The burden that once occupied the mind may be gone, yet the deeper longing for rest remains. The circumstances have changed, but the heart still finds itself searching for something it cannot quite name. Without realizing it, many people spend years moving from one source of relief to another, believing that the next answer, the next achievement, the next improvement, or the next breakthrough will finally provide the peace they have been longing for. What makes this so exhausting is not the search itself, but the realization that every destination eventually becomes another starting point. The promotion arrives, bringing excitement and opportunity, yet new responsibilities soon follow. A difficult season finally ends, only to reveal questions that did not exist before. An important prayer is answered, and gratitude fills the heart, yet life continues moving forward with challenges that still require faith. The soul slowly begins to discover that its deepest hunger cannot be satisfied by moments alone, no matter how beautiful those moments may be. Perhaps that is why so many people feel tired even after receiving things they once believed would bring lasting peace. The answer they prayed for arrived. The situation improved. The opportunity opened. Yet somewhere within, the longing remains. Not because they are ungrateful, not because the blessing was insignificant, but because the soul was created for something deeper than temporary relief. There is a part of us that longs for stability in a world that constantly shifts. We long for something that remains steady when circumstances become uncertain, something that does not disappear when plans change, something that can hold the weight of our fears without collapsing beneath them. David understood this longing. When he wrote, "Truly my soul finds rest in God alone," he was not speaking about a momentary feeling. He was describing a foundation. He had learned that peace becomes fragile when it depends entirely on what is happening around us, because the world around us is always changing. New seasons arrive, expectations shift, doors open and close. Life continues moving in ways we cannot fully predict. Yet in the middle of that uncertainty, David discovered a place where the soul could finally stop striving. Not because every question had been answered, not because every battle had been won, not because every burden had disappeared, but because he had found something greater than the burden itself. He had found the presence of God, and perhaps that is the invitation hidden within Psalm 62. Not an invitation to escape life's difficulties, but an invitation to stop asking temporary things to provide eternal rest. Because the peace the soul is searching for is not found at the end of perfect circumstances. It is found in the presence of the one who remains faithful through every circumstance. And when that truth begins to settle into the heart, something beautiful starts to happen. The soul no longer feels responsible for finding security in every changing situation. It begins to release its constant need to predict, control, and understand everything ahead of time. Instead, it slowly learns to rest. And that is where David's words begin to lead us next, into the quiet practice of becoming still before God and allowing His presence to carry what our own strength never could. For many people, stillness sounds simple until they actually try to experience it. The body may become quiet, yet the mind continues moving. The room may be peaceful, yet inwardly there is still a conversation taking place, a steady stream of concerns, responsibilities, memories, possibilities, and unanswered questions competing for attention. Even in moments specifically set aside for rest, the heart can remain busy carrying things it was never meant to carry alone. Perhaps that is why true stillness feels so unfamiliar at times. We become accustomed to solving, managing, anticipating, and preparing. We learn how to move from one responsibility to the next, from one concern to another, rarely stopping long enough to notice how much effort is being spent simply trying to keep everything together. Over time, this constant inner activity begins to feel normal, and because it feels normal, we rarely question how much it is costing us. Yet there comes a point when the soul begins to long for something different. Not necessarily a different life, not necessarily different circumstances, but a different way of carrying life itself, a way of moving through uncertainty without being consumed by it, a way of facing unanswered questions without allowing them to dominate every thought, a way of acknowledging difficulties without surrendering peace to them. This is where the words of David become so beautiful. When he says, "Truly my soul finds rest in God alone," he is not describing an escape from reality. He is describing a relationship that changes the way reality is experienced. The circumstances surrounding him had not suddenly become perfect. The challenges had not disappeared overnight. The future had not become completely predictable. What changed was the place where his heart chose to settle. Instead of allowing every uncertainty to become the center of his attention, David learned to bring his attention back to the faithfulness of God. Again and again, he returned to the same truth. God remained worthy of trust, even when life felt uncertain. There is something deeply comforting about that, because many of us spend enormous amounts of energy trying to reach a future version of peace. We imagine that rest will finally arrive when everything makes sense, when every important prayer has been answered, when every concern has been resolved, and when the road ahead becomes clear. Yet life rarely unfolds that way. Most of the time, faith is learned in the middle of unfinished stories. It is learned while waiting. It is learned while trusting. It is learned while living through chapters that have not yet reached their conclusion. And perhaps that is exactly why God's presence is so precious. His presence does not depend on having all the answers. It does not require certainty about tomorrow. It does not wait for life to become easier before offering comfort. It meets us here in the middle of what we understand and what we do not understand. In the middle of prayers that have been answered and prayers that are still being carried. In the middle of seasons that feel joyful and seasons that feel heavy. The more the heart begins to grasp this truth, the less it feels compelled to carry everything by itself. The future no longer has to be fully mapped out before peace becomes possible. Every question no longer requires an immediate answer. Every burden no longer has to remain in our hands. Little by little, the soul begins to discover what David discovered long ago, that rest is not found by controlling life more effectively, but by trusting God more deeply. And trust often begins in very quiet ways. A surrendered prayer, a moment of honesty, a decision to release a worry that has been rehearsed countless times, a willingness to admit that some things are beyond our ability to fix. These moments may appear small, yet they create space for something beautiful to happen. The heart stops striving long enough to remember that God is already present, already working, already aware, already carrying what feels too heavy for human strength alone. And perhaps before we move into prayer, this is the truth your soul needs most today. You do not have to wait until life becomes lighter to experience God's peace. You can begin resting in His presence right here, right now, exactly as you are. Before you move on with your day, before your thoughts return to everything that still needs to be done, And before the weight you have been carrying tries to take its place again in your mind, allow this moment to slow down just a little. Not everything needs to be solved right now. Not everything needs to be understood right now. And not everything needs to be carried in this exact moment. There is a quiet space that God gently offers to the weary soul, not as an escape from reality, but as a place of rest within it, where the heart can stop striving long enough to breathe again, where the mind can stop rehearsing every concern, and where the soul can remember that it was never meant to walk through life alone. So wherever you are right now, simply allow yourself to be present in this moment without pressure, without expectation, without needing to become anything other than what you already are. And as you do, let this become a moment of surrender, not forced, not heavy, but honest. A quiet turning of the heart toward God. Let us pray. Lord, I come before you with a heart that is tired in ways I do not always know how to explain, carrying thoughts that have followed me for too long, and burdens that I have learned to live with even when they feel heavier than I can express. You see what I cannot put into words. You understand what I have tried to manage in silence, and you know every place where I have been holding on for too long. So in this moment, I ask you to meet me here. Not when I have everything figured out, not when I feel strong again, but right now, exactly as I am. Teach my heart how to rest without fear, how to trust without needing control, how to release what I cannot change without feeling lost in the process. Where there has been tension, bring peace that I cannot create on my own. Where there has been exhaustion, bring renewal that reaches deeper than sleep. Where there has been uncertainty, bring a quiet assurance that I am not alone. And even if my circumstances do not change immediately, let something within me begin to soften. Let my soul learn again what it means to be held, not by my own strength, but by your presence. Thank you for not turning away from me in my weariness. Thank you for not demanding more than I can give. And thank you for being close, even in the moments where I feel distant from everything else. Today, I choose to place what I cannot carry into your hands, not as a moment of escape, but as a daily return to trust, one breath at a time, one moment at a time. And as I go forward from here, remind my heart gently that my rest is not found in having everything under control, but in knowing that I am never outside of your care. Amen.